Alright friends, welcome back to another installment of my channel. Hydrate if you haven't today. And let's all get seated for an afternoon, an evening, a morning of reckoning. That's all we do on my channel. We just reckon with shit. We love to clown our past selves. And if you've been around on the internet as long as I have, 10 years, it is inevitable that you will go through a few, maybe several, maybe dozens of eras. I don't think it's too radical to say that we've all been problematic at one point, whether or not we publish that at the age of 13 or not. My problematic roots, you guessed it, were nestled into the soil of StudyTube.
Barb, stay in school. Don't you ever be lazy. Don't you ever complain about hard work.
Or pre-StudyTube. That word was not around when I was making college videos. My bestie Sheridan did some wonderful... Why am I using my arm like this? Now you can see my side profile. Oh God! God damn it. My bestie Sheridan did some wonderful freelance labor and archived chronologically with hyperlinks and short descriptions every bootlicker moment in Kath history. It is some of the finest work I've had the pleasure of laying my eyes on in Google Docs. Major content warning for girl boss moments, hustle culture, just capitalistic nonsense. That's the trigger warning. And we're gonna begin our tour of bootlicker moments. As Charlie XCX once said, let's ride. We are going to dig right into advice for incoming sophomores, which has a blue thumbs up mark on it, which means I liked my own video back in 2012, and honestly, that's self-esteem that I don't have today. I don't know where it went, down an algorithm somewhere, but let's see.
I'll give you a little background on my high school. It's a pretty competitive school, like top 100 public high schools in the country, and so a lot of the problems I might face, you might have no problem with. So let's just go ahead and get started.
Oh my god, girly. I was an elitist to my core.
But I guess I'll tell you my GPA. I maintained a 4.0 GPA, which was what I wanted to do basically. Concerning. You have to know that you have to work really, really hard this year, because if you don't work hard your sophomore year, it's going to seem extremely difficult your junior year. Versus if you try really, really hard in your sophomore classes.
Homegirl was obsessed with working hard. I really thought that we lived in a meritocracy. I really did.
So I ended up with like a 4.05 GPA, which is good. I'm glad. But I still need to do a lot of work if I want to get into like Ivy Leagues and stuff.
My ego was unchecked. My ego went unchecked in high school. Not a single bitch dared to check my ego. And you know what? I don't blame them, because I don't think it would have even worked.
If you have a 3.5, that's like great. It's what is expected of you, but
that's like great. Very strong Marnie Michaels energy in the chat.
In my school, it's like if you don't have a 4.0, you're weird. So,
you're weird. You're a weirdo.
In case you haven't noticed, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo.
If you're not an academic elitist, you're a weirdo.
Some people will take a test and they've been doing stuff, yesterday, so they were not in their right head yesterday. If you know what I'm talking about, this is a teen channel. So, going into sophomore year, you probably know what I'm talking about up here.
Even the paparazzi seem right. Oh God.
Alright, let's move on.
Hey everybody, it's Catherine.
Right away, you can tell what era I'm in on YouTube by my eyebrows. Of course. All the girlies know that eyebrow trends are one of the best ways to clock what year it is, which I blame What Not to Wear for, because Candy, what was her name? Candace? What Not to Wear, Candace. Wait. Not Candace Owens. Carmody! Thumbs the hell up if that name rings an MF bell. Miss Carmody did me so dirty by suggesting that eyebrows should start at the inner corners of your eyes. That is not right, and it took me a year of growth over this pandemic to reset these bad boys. But okay, into the content. Into the thick of it. How the fuck? Into the thick of it? I don't know.
I'm gonna go over grades and course selection.
I can't believe there's an ugly doll. in my room.
What you're gonna sound out to college,
Victoria's Secret dog,
and what you want to present
Totoro,
and this definitely has
Hollister cardigan.
Straight A's video, so definitely check that out.
Vibes.
I know that myself included, a lot of other people thought that they could try way less and still get into the same schools that they got into. Like they don't think.
I was well spoken, I'll say it. Let's move on. This one is how to get straight A's.
Talking about this is something that comes very easily to me, and
I cannot stop academically flexing. I cannot stop. I was obsessed. It was the only thing I pinned my self-worth on, was like, and I always was like, you don't pin your self-worth. My self-worth was stuck on my grades like a goddamn sticky boob. I was obsessed.
I took AP Bio last year, so I know my stuff, and basically your brain's producing chemicals past 10 p.m. that are inhibiting you from doing your best work. Your brain's telling you to go to sleep, and
I really thought I understood the biology of sleep after taking AP Bio. Again, the confidence, the sheer audacity.
2 hours you have to cram all your homework in and just get it done, and there's no way you can be distracted. And I think, like when I was in basketball, the basketball season, I actually was way more productive with my work, because when at school, I would even do like homework during my classes, homework during my prep, homework, you know, in between, like on the drive to games. Like you just become so much more efficient because you know you have no time. Versus if you get home on Monday and you say, oh, Monday's my free day, I have nothing to do. You go home, you get on Tumblr, you get on YouTube, you get on Facebook, and eventually it's 5 o'clock and you've been at home for 2 hours and you're like, why haven't I started anything yet?
I'm like, it makes me sad to hear me talk like this. This is so toxic. Like I wouldn't even let myself have a moment. Like no wonder it took me so long to like become who I am today. Like I did not let myself have a second to just rest. Like we're gonna take a brief hiatus from the Lunary to talk about the sponsor of today's video, give us a breather, and then we will return. So the labor of today's video was funded by Surfshark VPN. At this point in the video, you should have gathered that I have put a lot out there in my time on the internet, and unfortunately, if you're not actively shoring up your internet security with a VPN, you are being taken advantage of. That's the unfortunate truth of being online in this day and age. Surfshark is a virtual private network, which means that they protect you online by basically obscuring who you are no matter what device you're on, your phone, your laptop. And it does this by swapping out your location or your IP with another one somewhere in the world, which actually serves a dual purpose in that it allows you to virtually travel the globe and access content from anywhere. So I'm gonna say something a little bit shameful here and admit that I was binging Riverdale in the fall of 2018 and just could not wait for the next season to be released on US Netflix, so I used Surfshark to hop on another's to do some delusional binging that way. The less sexy part of VPN, but the way more important part of VPN, is that it's providing you with a lot more digital hygiene, all of your personal data, your internet habits. Those are all very easy to access for anybody that wants to, unless you're using a VPN. My best friend is a security engineer and she reminds me not so gently every time I'm in an airport that if I'm gonna connect to public Wi-Fi, I absolutely need to be on a VPN while I'm doing so. So if you've been procrastinating on your own cybersecurity regimen, or if there is a show you're itching to access, you can get 83% off Surfshark and 3 months for free at surfshark.deals/Katherout. I will have that in my description as well. They also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so it's very low risk to try it out. Thank you to the Surfshark team for sponsoring me and making sure I do not raw dog the internet. Alrighty, let's get at Barb's. We need to watch this video. It's called My College Grades Are Not Good, and I remember getting a lot of flack about this video because I basically talk about how I got a B-, I think, and then I literally just emailed the TA, and after like 2 back and forth emails, he ends up just bumping it to like a B+ or an A-. Here was like the beginning of my disillusionment. I was like, maybe this system is not built perfectly.
In high school, things came fairly easy to me. I really knew how to get an A. It was all about consistent work, about really communicating with the teacher. And in college, it's been like really, really tough on me to earn even close to the same GPA. Like it's just so different.
I mean, one of the sad things for me watching these videos, like is just how much I talk about grades, GPA, test scores, results, and how little I talk about like learning, material, how to like, you know, critically think, how to like, you know, work through tough problems. Like, I don't even think the TA that gave me that grade cared about grades. Like, I think he actually just cared about whether students were like learning the material and how much he could sense that they'd learned the material. And I think he could probably sense that I wasn't learning the material, I was just learning what I needed to know for a test. And I got mad that he didn't set expectations with us of like what's going to be tested.
So there's no way to know like what actually in that 2-hour lecture we had to know, because he just read straight from the book. Like, it was so difficult to pay attention in that class, which definitely contributed to me not being able to do well.
That's all I cared about, because that's all I was conditioned to care about. I know I can't be too hard on myself. Like, there were reasons. I wasn't just intrinsically just loving grades. There's obviously reasons that grades matter. Oh, baby girl just took it so seriously. I took it way too seriously for my own good.
Because let me tell you, people, the main point of the story is that college grades are arbitrary.
Yes, baby girl, they're arbitrary. Yes, they are.
I just want to warn you all that like you shouldn't really get attached to grades in college, because while a lot of my friends like do celebrate their 4.0s and do celebrate them getting really good grades, it's not always well deserved. Like, it's really, really arbitrary. So I'm like really, really happy about this. And like, I'm happy that my grades were all A- or A this semester, which like,
I'm losing my mind watching this because I'm making good reflections. Like, I'm so close to getting it. Like, I'm just so close in this video. 2016, I was so close. I was acknowledging that grades are arbitrary and we shouldn't take them so seriously. And my friends that like are too attached to grades, I like pity, because like I know that they're not everything. But the only reason I came to that conclusion is because I suddenly was not the 4.0 perfect little type A overachiever girly that I was in high school. Like, a B is what it took me to want to abolish grades, basically. All the comments are like girly. Like, you should not have titled this "My college grades are not good," because now everyone that gets a B thinks that that's not good. / what do you think all the kids getting C's, D's, F's, failing grades are gonna think when you say that getting a B is not good, and they're way below that? And I'm like, whoo, I couldn't even conceptualize it. I could not even conceptualize it. This was just like such an irresponsible video. Honestly, it makes me sad. It makes me sad because I'm like, I'm making personal growth here, but I'm also like definitely holding a lot of people back. Okay, I am very curious to see what little baby Kath is gonna say about how I motivate myself in school and college, because like, what was motivating me? Was it the GPA? Was it a job after school? Was it just, I don't know what I'm about to say. I personally feel guilty if I am not always working towards being productive and efficient. So shower time is perfect for motivation time, because you just cannot justify doing anything else while you're in there for those 10 or 15 minutes. That right there. Hustle culture 1. W for hustle culture. I don't even need to give commentary on that. We all know it's sad. If any of you are not this far gone, you should be thankful. This is dark. This is dark. Let's hear me talk about applying for jobs. Talking about applying for jobs in a cheerful way is straight up sadistic. Like, look at my goddamn face. Think of brands you love, you know, companies you've seen in the news, really cool CEOs, just any really cool CEOs. And by showing that you're serious and willing to spend time before the interview even happens with this current employee, they might even go and talk to the recruiter, go and talk to the hiring manager, and just let them know that you are incredibly serious about the application. This interview video is like sending me, guys, because it's so, maybe this is an American thing. I don't know. I've never applied to a job outside of the US. Maybe it's an American thing, but the fact that I'm telling people to go above and beyond and like craft their lifestyle around applying to jobs to be better applicant, like, you should not have to do this much work just to ask to sell your labor. Like, companies should want your labor. It is absolutely wild the amount of unpaid labor we do just to apply to get a job that will pay us, and how many times that unpaid labor never gets compensated because you don't get that job offer. Like, I know so many artists and graphic designers that will put together like huge portfolios to get a job and spend hours and hours, and then they don't even get the job, but that job keeps the portfolio and keeps the creative work, and they don't get paid for that. Like, that piece of it I never really thought about as corrupt before, but it really is so exploitative. It's horrible. I have dragged you through the mud enough. The last video we need to talk about is this sucker right here. One of my most I should really take this, I know people unlist videos on YouTube, and I've always just kind of like been super open about my journey and where I've come from, but this is honestly like a really harmful video. Just such an entitled video, and I probably should delete it from the internet, but it's how I saved $50,000 my first year out of college. And anybody with an ounce of class consciousness could tell before they even clicked on it that the answer was gonna be intergenerational wealth, baby, because I didn't have any student loans because my parents had a college fund for me, and I tried to save my own morality by being like, I did have some agency in it because I could have graduated in 4 years and had $60,000 of debt because my college fund wasn't big enough, but instead I graduated in 3 years, so I had 0 debt, and that's how I set myself. It's like, honey girl, like the only way you were able to do that is because you had AP credits, and the only reason you had AP credits is because you had access to a school system where those were available, and you had the resources and the support at home where you could take those and get to, like, I was so myopic. Like, I'm like actually scared to watch this. I think this will be the biggest. I mean, this was 2019, so it's only 2 years ago, but let's see how much I've changed.
Let's talk about the title of this video. I was not trying to flex or brag.
Of course I was trying to flex or brag.
50,000 should not be everyone's goal. We all have different salaries. We all have different costs of living. But I also wouldn't let yourself off the hook. Like, it is possible to save thousands of dollars the first year you're out of college.
Like, the fact that I was like, oh, maybe some people's goal should be like 5,000. I didn't even reckon that like so many people through paying off their student debt are living like paycheck to paycheck. Like, it's not like they can only save $1,000 in the year. It's like they just don't even think that they can save, period, much less not go into debt even for, like, my heart goes out to the girlie who made these videos, but my heart also goes out to any of you whose brain was poisoned by the hustle culture I was spewing. As soon as I gained an ounce of class consciousness last year, I very quickly woke up to the fact that I had been contributing to some very, very dark, like, not only was I a victim of the system because I was feeding into this to my own detriment, like, it does not help to be this much of an overachiever, I was also encouraging you all to get just as wrapped into the system as I was. I was capturing the values and distributing them to you all, and that's irresponsible, and I might go through and unlist some of these, so I'll have all these videos linked down below if you want to rot your brain with me. If for some reason you haven't subscribed yet and that button down below is red, that sucker will pop to gray if you just click it, and I'd love to have you join as I move forward into my next era. Who knows what that will be after this granola moment. And also just give this video a thumbs up if you've watched this far. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all next time, and Katherout.